Hello and welcome. Union Budget 2025 coming up, and there are expectations and more expectations from Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. I have with me a group of women leaders. I'm going to go across first to you, ma'am. What do you want Nirmala Sitharaman to do?
uh, I work in the space of palliative care, so I truly believe that people are fully not aware of the potential the palliative care can offer to terminal patients. So I sincerely request Sitaraman Garu to allocate some budget to create advocacy campaigns for public to know the value of palliative care. And also recently in 2023 they have changed this living will concept. Living will it is legally acceptable in India to ask for withdrawal or withholding of certain treatments, but for lack of advocacy or lack of public awareness, this is not being accepted by the public. So I request Sitaraman Garu to allocate some budget to create that kind of advocacy campaigns.
Anita, tell me about yourself and what are you expecting?
So I am into software. I travel a lot, and I'm a lot of into sports. So I think we definitely need a lot of women hygiene focus, whether it is the menstrual care or the infrastructure. We travel so much in the highways, and we don't get enough toilets, or they're not maintained. They are made, but they're not maintained. So some focus has to be around that as for my.
Hey, hi, I'm Anupa. Basically, my both my kids are into sport, and my son is into BMX cycling, which is not yet recognized in India. Basically, he's representing the country internationally right now, and my challenge is when I go approach people for sponsors, it's like we, if it is a private corporate, I mean, if it's a corporate, it's like, okay, BMX is not yet recognized here, or do we have to be doing it because it's just one kid? And when you go to the government, they're like, we don't have funds for BMX because it does not fall under the list of size sports. So we're kind of stuck between both, but yet we are continuing our journey, and it's been good so far. So
Very often it's these kind of individual effort and stories that seem to later make the headlines, and then the ownership happens. Shobha, you run industries and you actually have women working 3 shifts in 2 plans of yours. Tell us more about it and why that is very important. And obviously, labor force participation of females is low. We claim it is 37%, and aiming at least to get to 50%.
Yeah, and especially so in the manufacturing sector, it's hardly 5%. So that's the reality. And if we want the women to come and work, I believe we need to have two things taken care of, that is childcare and elder care. Once we have more of these facilities, that will free up the time of women to come and work into the workforce and be a part of the labor force and help in manufacturing, which is the backbone of any economy of any country. Besides this, I would also look for incentives for companies that are employing women and incentives for the women who are already working, like women who are coming out of homes and working in the manufacturing sector or in any company should get some incentives, maybe a slight 0.5 increase in the PF, for example. That could be an incentive for them to come and work.
We say, women become the primary caregivers. Like Shubha was mentioning, you need that kind of care facility, and healthcare is something that you are very passionate about.
I'm Uma, and I'd like to share that there is a huge missing middle that goes through financial crisis, and there's a catastrophe of health expenditure. One person dies or anything shifts in major healthcare, which is essential healthcare. You find that the whole family is either in debt or in different kinds of things, and they don't recover from it ever. So just like farmers have loans at easy rates, can we have the missing middle at easy rates? The second thing I'd like to talk about is mental health. And for children, because they are mentally never going to be adults, we are not allowed to have any health insurance. So can health insurance be made available against a parent or against somebody who's going to be responsible for it? But for them, reaching a hospital means that the parent is never going to recover again. So the missing middle and the mental health. Can we have easy loans like the farmers do? And how can we make that happen for women who actually are the people who deprive themselves, and they are the last in line to decide that their healthcare is a priority. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Anju. I work in space of menstrual health and introducing sustainable menstrual options among girls and women at grassroots. I extensively work with school girls and have been working, have been visiting a lot of schools in past couple of years. What I've really realized is the toilets in the school, the sanitary infrastructure in the school is almost defunct. So my request, my ask from Sitaraman ma'am is, if we can have period friendly toilets, if we can have the infrastructure which is conducive enough for girls to be able to manage their periods comfortably and confidently in the schools, that would really help them and give them a great boost. So what I've understood is, there's of course definitely a lot of funds that are allocated for these kind of initiatives, yet there is very little implementation at the grassroots. So my ask again would be if there could be strict compliance, if there could be regulations around it to ensure that the allotted funding is being used in the appropriate manner. Thank you.
Hey, hi, I'm Sharmila Karingula, the senior partner of the Chuck Consulting India LLP. We deal more with the international transactions, border transactions, that includes the litigations and also the immigration practice areas. So my concern is about the export duties as well as the custom duties that has been paid at the border. So if the international business sectors can be eased a little bit and also be compliant at the same time, I think that will be very helpful for all the export and import duties as well. Thank you.
Yeah, this is Shantala. So I have two asks actually. One, since I work in the startup ecosystem, one thing that we see lacking is really grants for research grants, especially for women entrepreneurs in the research sector. They really struggle after a point to, really take their innovation to the next level. Proportionate research grants is also what I would say, rather than a blanket thing, and also being connected to a research organization becomes very, important. And those things are the constraints that women entrepreneurs in the research field face. The second thing is, again, very close to my heart. Other women have spoken about menstrual hygiene. So menstrual health policy is being implemented. But what I feel very strongly is it's not, the awareness among the women and girls is missing as to what's happening in their own body. So if funds can be allocated to NCERT to come up with a syllabus that explains menstrual hygiene and menstrual health in simple, understandable format, and it is part of the syllabus, so that we don't have to wait for NGOs and CSR activities to come and teach it to the girls. So if it happens at the NCERT level, I think it will happen at all the other levels as well.
You spoke about, of course, the startup ecosystem. We say third largest startup ecosystem, but women, the funding that women get is hardly 15% of what is being given. Hema.
Hi, I'm Hema Srinivas. I'm the Vice Chairwoman for CII's Indian Women Network Telangana, and professionally I'm a talent enhancement consultant. So my ask would be ease of doing business in terms of just the processes around things like GST. And also when skill development is such an important aspect for India as a whole in order to compete globally. The GST rate for skills and anything, I'm not talking about the government grants. I'm talking about the private sector and any kind of other skill development initiatives. GST is still at 18%. So that itself is a deterrent, and if the Honorable Finance Minister could consider that, that's one thing. And the second is, we are talking about manufacturing being a major contributor to India's economy, and MSMEs are, the kind of heart of that contribution. So we've been talking about, and we've also given policy recommendations for infrastructure support to women in MSME business. Women-led and women in MSME business, if there is a structured fund allocation for infrastructure support, and that could be child care, elder care, transportation, all these things, I think it will help in women participating more in the economy. So that's my.
You spoke about skill development and funding there. Obviously, even for that demographic to come up, and for us to realize that potential, we need the skill development, and for that to be at GST of 18% is prohibitive.
Hi, my name is Geeta Goti. I'm an HR professional, partner of Sariga Initiatives. My request to the Finance Ministry is that though the gender budget seems to be progressive this year, however, the implementation part and the impact which it creates is something I think we need to focus on. A lot of NGOs are now not having that kind of funding to go to the last mile in the development sector. So any gender budget is not a financial or a physical imperative, but it's a development and moral imperative. So if we look at it from that lens, probably every ministry should have certain allocation given as part of gender budget. So even education, health, and also rehabilitation. Looking at the rehabilitation kind of budgets, there is a higher need for the women to get that kind of an allocation, which we are hoping that in this budget they do a little more due diligence of where the money is going. Is it just for the infrastructure, or is it also for other ministries to step in and do something more realistic, more impactful? Because the unorganized sector has to be taken care. Organized sector will anyway have their own way of bringing things together for their development. But unorganized sector is what we need to look at seriously, and gender budgeting, which I feel, if it is given an impactful lens to look at, will do a greater job.
You're so right about the population being treated as a monolith, and not because the women are at a different level and the men are at a different level in terms of access for credit and other incentives as well. Divya, you are an entrepreneur yourself. What are your thoughts?
Thanks, Uma. I think I've been in the frozen food manufacturing sector, and I think Indian food deserves to be celebrated much more and taken beyond the ubiquitous chicken tikka masala. So I think in this regard, simplification of HSN codes and GST tax structures for Indian food which are exported to other countries will really give a fillip to celebrate Indian food on the global stage. The second, from an entrepreneur perspective, I absolutely celebrate entrepreneurship. So I think in spite there's some wonderful work being done by the government on policies and structures around women-owned businesses and women in businesses. But I think the impact and the visibility and access to such policies needs to be magnified. So these, I think, would be my two humble requests of the Honorable Minister.
Just taking this back, the Prime Minister very proudly talks about more number of girls in STEM in India than perhaps the US or any other country. You are also in the IT space, you told me. It is going to be the technology divide, isn't it, when we talk about women largely in terms of being able to gallop ahead and make that thing. What can the Finance Minister do to bridge this gap?
So I think from the IT standpoint, I'm saying there is a lot of skill gap which we have. If there are courses or programs which are running to bring women, and you are talking about the STEM, still I would say there are number of girls in the STEM education are much lesser. While we think we have really gone ahead, it's not the case. So we can definitely put in more effort towards bringing those programs together to make this happen for the children, the younger children as well. That education should start from the beginning, not once you reach after 12th, I think.
We very proudly talk about women now being one among four who are filing their tax returns. None of you spoke about tax incentives that women must get.
We as women pay as much or more than men do. And we also buy, and we are the consumers of most of the luxury goods. So we pay tax-paid money to make more taxes happen. And we are not even considered as a part of that tax force which actually makes this country relevant. So if we can get better tax breaks for people who are in the workforce, especially who have put in more than a few number of years, because most of the tax breaks are made for those that are juniors, and the seniors who are paying the higher level of taxes do not get considered.
India is a country where less than 2% are paying their taxes and funding the rest of the country. Any thoughts on how women's participation, as you spoke about, can be improved. You spoke about the infrastructure being available or support services being available.
So about 5 to 7 lakh salary structure is where the woman drops out of the workforce. So if you want to retain them, say between 5 to 7 up to 20, we can have a separate slab for women where they can be incentivized through a better tax structure. Maybe some home special loan or some healthcare, childcare, education provided by the mother. These are all incentivizing tools that can be included in the coming budget.
Talent, ma'am. Where are women headed now? She spoke about manufacturing and mentioned the statistic of just about 5% being there women. What do you see as the as that step that can be taken to make you gallop ahead and reach a place where you're talking about 50% participation of women in the workforce?
So, like Shobha mentioned, it's that that initial step where where people drop out. Statistics proves that the number of girl students doing well is quite commendable, but then they drop out when family happens. So what do they need? What are those special skills needed for women or rather for corporates to arrest the leaky pipeline? I think those skills need special focus, and it contributes to the overall skill development in the economy, whether it is for students, whether it is for women in the workforce at the junior level, and of course women at a senior leadership level. But I think the target segment would be this women who are probably dropping out of the workforce, the leaky pipeline. I think that's important.
So that's the women telling Nirmala Sitharaman what they would like her to do, because if India is talking about improving its GDP, it's not going to happen without the women's participation. That has been proven to increase the GDP by 1.5% at least if the women's participation were to increase to 50%. In Hyderabad, with camera person Nagraju, Uma Sudhir, NDTV.